Hey class, so today I'm going to be talking to you about eating disorders. Imagine this. What if you had a friend and you've been watching her for a few weeks at school? Every day it was the same routine. You go to lunch, you and your friends eat, and then she just sits there and doesn't eat anything. One day your family decides that they're going to have a dinner party. So you invite all your friends and this friend still doesn't eat dinner. When you ask her why she's not eating, she says, "Oh, I just had a big lunch today. I'm not full. Well, I'm not hungry." Wouldn't that raise flags in your mind? Not only did she tell you that she had a big lunch and that she was full, but you know she didn't eat lunch because you've been watching her for the past few weeks. If you knew anything about eating disorders, you'd know that that was one of the big red signs of one of the main eating disorders. There are a lot of eating disorders in the society today, but the two main eating disorders are anorexia and bulimia. I'm going to teach you a few things about the two so that in the future you'll be able to help your friends and distinguish between if they're just hungry or they're not eating or if they have an eating disorder. Eating disorders affect over 70 million people in the U.S. That's more than 50% of the world. Only 10% of the people affected by anorexia and bulimia are males. Without treatment, up to 20% of anyone with anorexia or bulimia will die. With treatment, that number falls down to 2 to 3% of people. That's a big jump just to have a little bit of treatment. 60% of people recover from treatment of an eating disorder. 20% only have a partial recovery. That means that within their lifetime, after being treated for an eating disorder, they will eventually end up back in the hospital for a relapse of their eating disorder, whether it's the same one or a new one. The other 20%, however, never recover from their eating disorder. They will spend the rest of their life back and forth in between the hospitals and being sick from having an eating disorder. Anorexia affects 1 in 10 women between the ages of 10 to 20. That's 1% of women, and that's only in that age range. It affects many more in the different ages. Anorexia is having 85% or less of the average body weight that most doctors and scientists say that you're supposed to have. Women often aim for the perfect body image, but the perfect body image has been distorted by magazines such as 17 magazine. This is a teenage magazine. It distorts the image that teenage girls are supposed to look like a size 0, 1, or 2 model. It has a certain height, a certain size, and a certain look that all girls aim to try and be. But it's not just 17 magazine. It's Essence magazine. Essence magazine is for a little bit of an older crowd. Women aged 20 and up. They often have an image that's distorted too. Similar to this one. They aim to be a size 0, 1, 2, but for them, they possibly could go up to a size 5 and still feel like they were in the perfect body image, or what society calls that. But it's not just the fashion magazines. People magazine often advertises their magazines with the front of it saying something about a diet or eat this to lose weight. Why would it make a magazine sell that they're having to lose weight? Well, because they've distorted what the perfect body image is supposed to be for women, which often leads to more eating disorders, which is how the world got up to the 70 million people who are affected by an eating disorder. The other well-known eating disorder that I wanted to talk about is bulimia. Bulimia affects 4% of women. 50% of the women who are affected by bulimia were at one time anorexic. Bulimic people often are hidden in the crowd. They vomit, abuse drugs, and they often become extremely active and fast a lot. They're easily hidden because bulimics, unlike anorexics, look and seem normal on the outside, but it is only until you get to know them that you know that they're not who they're supposed to be. Anorexics you can usually point out in a crowd because they usually have discolored skin, frail hair, frail nails. They usually seem weak and tired, and then they often have their shown differently on the inside. They often become depressed, isolated, have anxiety, and become very embarrassed if they're out in big places. Some of the unusual behavior that bulimics will start to show is they'll begin shoplifting, using drugs, abusing alcohol, and becoming very vulgar. Bulimics often live as if they have no consequences, which is often how eating disorders can get out of hand and lead to death. Anorexics will withdraw themselves from their friends, become depressed, and often be very irritable because they're always striving for the perfect body image. But in their head and what they see in the mirror, there is never a perfect body image for them. So, in conclusion, we know a little bit more about people who have eating disorders. So, if you had a friend who was eating and wasn't eating lunch, but they claimed that they were, what would you do? You could help them, and you could try and find something that connected them to one of these eating disorders. But mainly, the one thing that you should always do is look for the signs. For anorexics, you gotta watch, are they losing weight too quickly? Are they becoming less energized? Are they taking themselves away from our group? Are they not doing things that they used to love? Are they always talking about how their body doesn't look right? For bulimics, you'd have to watch for the constant. If they do eat, did they get up and run to the bathroom at the end? Did they go and have to brush their teeth? Brushing their teeth after they eat is often a sign that a bulimic has went to the bathroom and disposed of their food that they just ate. If a person is always talking about losing weight and then they go and eat a whole lot of food every single day, it means that they're binge eating, which is another sign of a bulimic. Bulimics binge eat and then they go on a fasting so that they can, because they felt like they lost control when they binge ate, even though the binge eating is a symptom of their disorder. So, in conclusion, what can we do to help people? If you see someone who shows these symptoms, and they show a lot of them, don't do nothing. Help them. Go and be supportive. Let them know that you are there for them. Show them compassion. Don't just leave it alone. It's not okay. Eating disorders lead to 20% of people dying. 60% of who could have recovered if somebody would have took the time and helped them find some help. With treatment, anything is possible. You never know. They could be that 80% of the people who either recovered or had a partial recovery. Even though it was only a partial recovery for some, it was still a recovery, which led to them not having to die from an eating disorder that somebody could have potentially stopped. So, that's all I have to say. But hopefully, this has helped you a little bit. And if you have a friend who's in danger of having an eating disorder, or if this video helped you think of somebody who does have an eating disorder, I hope now you have the information and everything that you need in order to help them. Bye, class.
Okay, pretty good.
Wonderful speech.